Today is Thursday, and as usual, we'll do some throwbacks. And just to mention that yesterday was the 60th birthday of the Director General of the Ghana Prison Service, Mr. Isaac Ejir. Yesterday was his 60th birthday. He has served his country, he served his nation very, very well as the Director General. Please put a picture there. Let's celebrate the great man who is due for retirement, but is going home with flying colors and has been a shining example to many who wear the brown uniform with pride and also keep the dangerous people out of society, reform them and give them back to society. Let's have his picture there. And congratulations to you, sir. It's your birthday. Happy, happy birthday. I wish you long life. I wish you a fruitful retirement. And I pray that you don't learn from the bad example of your other colleagues in the other security services who have refused to go home. They tell people that they have contract extensions, but only they know where the contract extension letters are. Don't be like them, sir. Sir, you have done very well. I've had opportunity to meet you 1 or 2 times. You're an affable personality. It's time to go home. Happy birthday. And we would love to come and give free coverage to your pull-out ceremony. We would love to do that for you. So, good morning to you, sir. And thank you very, very much indeed. And I hope that the government keeps to its own word that they told us on the 5th of August 2022 that no contract extensions will be bestowed. So far, they have failed on every side. On the side of Ghana Immigration, on the side of Ghana Fire Service, on the side of GRA. They have failed on every side. Every side they have failed. There are only a few with honor who decide to go home when their time is due. Only a few with honor. So, sir, good morning to you. Happy birthday. And I wish you long life and prosperity. Let's throw back. Once upon a time, there was Nana Dodankwa Akufo-Addo with his good friend, Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum. I think this picture was taken while they served under the Venerable J.A. Kufuor together as ministers. And you know that Papa Kwesi Indum originally belongs to the CPP. Nana Dodankwa Akufo-Addo belongs to the MPP of the UP Tradition, UGCC, etc. And the two of them, put a picture up there quick. We don't have too much time. So let's do it so we can go. And Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum and Nana Dodankwa Akufo-Addo right there. Beautiful. 2 friends, 2 parties sitting there. What's the story today? I don't know what the story is today. I'm sure that you know the story better than I do. And Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum has not been too happy under Nana Dodankwa Akufo-Addo. You remember that in the run-up to the big election in 2016, Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum had cause to put stuff on social media, and it was a very, very interesting moment. And now, what is the story? We're just doing throwback now. We're just doing the throwbacks now as we speak. Do you also remember the situation where the ambulance service, Fijai, take me to Fijai. The ambulance service still takes monies from people who are vulnerable, who are their lowest, who need medical support, who need immediate medical attention at their services. The ambulances which were procured on our behalf and fuel with our own money, the staff who are paid with our taxes. And yet when you have a problem and you go to them, they will tell you that if you don't give them fuel, you are not going anywhere. And I'm not the first to have said it. There are many people who have gone through that situation. The ambulance service. Once upon a time, someplace in the western region, a man lost his wife painfully because there was no fuel in the ambulance. And he was being asked to pay at that material moment. Watch. Listen.
Johnny's plight. Condition why critical. Remember, 2-3 minutes later now, another call on my phone. Same number be or no number. It's me picking now. What's the saying? For me to pick one of your cases was a national ambulance. Now I'm saying I'm so much a junction, a Roman. Down with it. Also, why are you web to? But when I come and see what I've been saying in there, means one. It's not, but I'm moved the mind in there, may yet. No, she can be a cranty, me from my Gumu. Now, remember, I'm catching there. I'm saying, I'm coming man and there, Colibuna Mitchum. And see me shown war as if what now see here, or can't come your day. Now, make a trap front. Think that you were going, Yako. Yako, a crap. You know, the government they often other day didn't obey. But I could not tell me Kennedy in the man.
And this was a sad story. I didn't want to get to the very end. But his wife, as we speak, is dead. Has he had justice? I don't know. Is the ambulance service still taking monies from people for fuel? Yes, people still say it so. In fact, there was a staff here who had his mother admitted at Ridge Hospital. Came back to me, Accra Regional Hospital. Beyond the dirty washrooms at the emergency and all of that, beyond all those things, cockroaches moving around, etc. They were asked to take their own blood samples to the lab. And then beyond that, they had to go and transport the sick person, the sick mother, to another facility near the Electoral Commission. And they were being charged 250 Ghana cedis. It is happening. This morning it will happen. Yesterday it happened. Tomorrow it will happen. And we are all quiet as if everything is okay. I'm happy to announce to you on the front page of the Daily Guide this morning, Korle Bu reopens outpatient dialysis unit. This is all we are looking for. We are not looking for explanations in English. We are not looking for pushing the blame on people and trying to target individuals who go out there to tell the public what is really happening at the facilities. Korle Bu has reopened the outpatient dialysis unit. This is good news. And this is all we are looking for. When the 30 new dialysis machines that have been procured under the watch of Okoboy gets upstream, we will be happy. But if at any point the place is shut down because we couldn't get the consumables, because we couldn't get the reagents, I will say it. And when I say it, it doesn't mean that I hate you. I will say it because I don't want people to die useless deaths. I will say it because I don't want people to be orphaned because somebody somewhere refused to sign something earlier. I don't want that. Because those who sometimes refuse to sign things, they can pick their passport and travel outside. They can go to the private facility. They can afford all those luxuries. Those people who are orphaned, those people who are becoming incapacitated or whatever it is, they cannot speak for themselves. So some of us have elected to speak for them. Do you have a problem with that? I'm sure you don't. Now, do you remember the National Cathedral? There's a chairman of the National Cathedral who set up, Apostle Professor Opokunyina, a man I so respect. Listen to him.
I requested the chairman of the function to throw a bit of light on the cathedral because I've seen that there has been misinformation going around. First of all, I'd like to tell you that when the president appointed the trustees, he told us 4 things, that he will do 4 things for us. 1, he will give us a land. 2, he will appoint the architect. 3, he will establish the secretariat for us. And 4, he will give us a seed money. And he has almost done everything except the seed money that it has not concluded. Initially, he gave us a seed money of $25 million, and then later 25 million Ghana cedis. And I think this is where the parliamentarians have a problem with him. And that one, we leave it with them because it is not at our level. But when the seed money was given, it was given to us, to our fund. So once the money was given, it was not the government that was controlling the money again. In July 2019, the cathedral was registered as a company limited by guarantee. So we do our things, but thank God that we have a procurement and technical committee with the PPA deputy director, PPA, that is Public Procurement Authority. The deputy director is a member of the procurement and technical committee. Unfortunately, our own apostle here, Apostle Dr. Boite, is also a member. We wrote to the Executive Council to release him to function, to release him to come and assist us in whatever we are doing, of which the Executive Council allowed.
So that's Professor Opokunyina there. He spoke at the Pentecost International Worship Center in Asokwa. It is obvious now, we know that the National Cathedral will not be completed. And guess what? we know the origins of what is now being called the National Cathedral. It was President Akufo-Addo's personal pledge to his God that if he gives him a second term, he will build a cathedral for him. He said also that we're not going to invest any state resources. That's why we know we have invested more than what was even budgeted and targeted, as monies that we needed to complete the project. So now the question is, what happens to the most expensive hole ever dug in the world when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo leaves? It's a question that must be answered. What happens to that, the most expensive hole ever dug in the world? What happens to it? Play this other video for me when Nana Addo had asked former President Mills, Nasikano Wayne. Listen to him.
In less than 4 years, this government has spent more money than the MPP did in 8 years. And yet, they have little to show for it. Secondly, this government has borrowed more money than all previous governments put together did in 52 years. I ask, as all of us must ask, Sikano ewahi, Sikano ewahi, Sikano ewahi.
So that's Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo asking the question. Na Sikano ewahi. Did you hear the president? In opposition, he said that the government at the time of Professor Mills has had so much and borrowed so much, and yet there's very little to show for it. Now, fast forward to today. If you put together all of what the government before Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government borrowed, he has actually borrowed more than all of them, plus a little more. Whatever he criticized in terms of the management of the economy, both micro and macro, whatever it is, he has broken his own record, set another one, and broken that one too, including that of his predecessors. He's the man who told us that yet is a kasu accommodating. And at the time he was asking Nasikano Wahin, and that election was 3 rounds. Time was the breaker under Dr. Farijan. So we asked this morning, Nasikano ewahi. If we can, for example, give a private entity $1 million through GBC, and the question I ask is GBC the special purpose vehicle? $1 million. Couldn't we have given the money to GBC to also procure the equipment that they needed so that they could do? Because do you know the expertise at GBC? The expertise sitting at GBC, do you know what expertise there is? And if the companies, yesterday I showed you an invoice of a private entity that had done work for the All Africa Games, and they came full chest out, not hiding behind any special purpose vehicle of a sort. They came full chest out with their invoice to say, this is what we have done for you. This is how much you owe us. Pay us. They were even being asked to discount whatever they are owed. So these entities that went through the GBC route, who are the faces behind these companies? Who is hiding behind it to ask for somebody to pay $1 million, $20,000, and so on and so forth? If the Director General had not come to tell us that, oh, what GBC only got was $105,000, we would have all assumed that GBC got $3 million and they still don't have an OB van, as the Director General said. That is fit for purpose today. Look, play the other video for me.
This is the DKK government. After 8 years, they have had more resources than all governments from Nkrumah to Kufuor put together. They have used up 248 billion Ghana cedis. And after 248 billion Ghana cedis, they cannot pay for national health insurance. They cannot pay for the national youth employment. They cannot pay for the school feeding program. They cannot pay for the free maternal care program. They cannot pay teacher training allowances. They cannot pay nursing training allowances. The mass cocoa spraying program has collapsed. And today, electricity is costing more than rent. This is the government of President John Dramani Mahama. That is the record. And this is why we say, if the MPP could build this economy with 20 billion Ghana cedis, and you come and collapse it with 248 billion Ghana cedis, it shows without question that you are an incompetent government. Without question, you are an incompetent government.
So, boss, I hear you want to have a media encounter. I don't know who's putting the pressure on you. But you see the 170 statements and questions you asked Mr. Arthur. You have to first answer those questions. And then you hear the questions that you were asking in this one. Teacher trainees, nursing trainees, youth employment, electricity is higher than rent, blah, blah, blah. All that. You see the things you were asking? I just cut a small piece of it. If I play the full video and put the IDB keke before you, I'm sure that you would have a lot more questions. You don't actually need the media to sit in front of you to answer those questions. You ask the questions nobody has been able to answer. That's why they were kicked out. Now answer your own questions. So the questions have been set for you already. If we as journalists decide to even share the questions among ourselves, the questions already are there. The questions are questions that you know. So will you answer your own questions, sir? Will you answer your own questions, sir? There's Mr. Kwani Pienim. He's a renowned economist. He said something. Listen to him.
Johnnie's bite.
I'm going to refer to two Dagomba sayings. They are not sayings. An old Dagomba person taught me. He said, if you dress up a donkey as a racehorse, on the day of the race, it will be revealed for the ass that it is. So the press and media can dress up leaders for us, but when they get in, we'll know. If they are character.
If you dress up, I don't need to repeat it. Because I've asked too many questions here. And if you are packaged, we will know. Dr. Baumia, before Sunday, or ahead of Sunday, the group of young people, they have a question for you. They are called Napconians. Napco. These days, you don't talk about them. In your manifesto, we didn't hear about them. Prior to the 2020 elections, there were big achievements. In the delivery tracker, performance tracker, we don't hear about them. We don't read about them. Does it mean you have abandoned them? Does it mean that it is no longer an achievement that you are proud of to associate with? Sunday, there's a question on Napco. Because you have avoided it, that you would have to answer. And the question is from the Napco people. Now, they are old arrears. Nobody is talking to them. The last time they went to the Ministry of Finance, they were told to go to the presidency because the minister says he is not aware of them. He doesn't know the arrangements that they have. But he was the Minister of State, the Finance Ministry, working from the presidency under Ken Ofori-Atta or with Ken Ofori-Atta. So the Napconians, they are watching you. You ask them to remember you in 2020. Now they say you should remember them. The Director of Communications of the Baumia campaign, I asked him this question about Napconians. Listen to him.
It is complete dishonesty. It is insincerity for anybody to even try to compare where we are now to where we found ourselves in 2016 and say that it was better than now. We have made.
Are you saying we are better now?
Yes,
than we were
comparatively, and those are the things.
Let's go to the
Alaji, allow him, please.
Sorry, please.
Allow him, please.
Thank you.
So you are saying that we are in a better place now than we were in 2016?
Every single thing that affects a Ghanaian, me, and a young person at home, we are better off, including even the unemployed. And let me come to the famous Napco guys. Even the Napco guy today, who is owed by government for 4 months, is better off than it was in 2016 because in 2016, this morning, he was home sleeping and wondering Who even owes him to go and chase the person after?
Napco beneficiary.
Yes, because today, at least the Napco beneficiary is on a certain list. The government is owing him for 4 months. When I have someone owing me, I am better off than being in so much poverty that I haven't even had anything to do with for the person to owe me.
Have you seen the letter that the meteorological agency?
Sorry, it's just a point. I don't want to digress.
I asked you a question too. Have you seen the letter that the meteorological agency wrote? They say those Napco beneficiaries who are not coming to work, if opportunities come, they will not be considered. The guys are also saying we don't have money to transport ourselves to and from work. And you say they're in a better place.
Johnny, I will not digress. My point I am making on Napco is that in 2016, if I am a young Ghanaian that has graduated, had no job, I was part of an association of unemployed graduates.
Right.
Between 2017 and now, I have been working and being given some stipend, albeit it's small. And as it stands now, I have worked and government owes me 4 months. Anybody watching me that is fair-minded and objective would know that as it stands now, I have government owing me about 2,800 Ghana cedis, which means that I am far better off compared to 2016 that by this time, I have not even been able to hold a cutlass for someone to owe me 30 cedis, for me to even have a premise to go after.
The man who you just heard, who has told you, at the time they were just owed 4 months. Now it's about 9 months or so. In 8 days, he will take his salary. But he says that for you who are owed, it is okay, you should be happy. But he will go and take his salary. He's been taking his salary since he told you in 20-something, 4 years, 3 years ago or 2 years ago, that it's okay for you to be owed. He will take his salary and tell you that you are in a better place, that everything is okay. He will go and take his salary. In fact, last month while you were worrying me about your allowances, he took his salary. The previous month, he took his salary. They are all taking their salaries and they come telling you that it's okay for you to be owed. And sometimes they've even abandoned you. Listen to King Kwesi Chedakwa. Listen to him.
Truth is the ultimate power. If I make you my president for 4 years, you are not my chief for life. Why do you go to the palace of the chief or to the grounds where the chief is in his hometown and ask him to rise to salute you? No. Only arrogant people do that. When the chief comes to the state house, which is the seat of the presidency, you are seated, he will come and greet you. But if you have wisdom, you will rise to greet him.
So the president got it wrong.
Oh, very wrong.
But he's a royal. He's supposed to know this.
No. I don't know about
his
royalty, but my point is, if he is a royal, then he should have been called to order by maybe even the Chafuahine of his village, not the chief himself. There will be a sabita fracture. Why? Did you ever see Kufuor, President Kufuor, who is the man who managed to bring the elements of the UP tradition into government in Ghana? Summon a chief to rise and greet him. Did you ever see President Atta Mills summon a chief to rise and greet him? Did you ever see President John Dramani Mahama summon a chief to rise and greet him? Did you ever see Ike Achampong, even in his military rule, summon a chief to rise and greet him? Or FWK Akufo, summon a chief to rise and greet him? Our presidency has fallen to its lowest level of dignity. People look at this presidency with total disregard. There is a serious lack of dignity around the office of the presidency. It should be washed with Izal and hang out to dry for 2 weeks before another person takes over. It is a shame, damn shame. And if you have a council of state that cannot speak on it, a council of state that is paid and given pay and perks, but whose advice the president is not obliged to take, and that is what is in the constitution.
That's correct.
Why do you set up a specific vehicle whose purpose is you may speak, but we won't take it, and pay them money? And we say we have elders, many of our elders were not wise. The young are beginning to notice.
Okay. Now, we'll play a final video for you. I'm torn between Senor Hosi and Engineer Kwabena J. Japon. We're doing throwbacks. Maybe play Engineer Kwabena J. Japon because these days he is with the Vice President, flag bearer of the MPP. He used to have an eye on the flag bearership himself. He said a lot of things, and we seem to have swept all of them under the carpet. But I want to take you back to hot issues. He sat down with Mr. Kwesi Pratt. Listen, timeless.
The activists to also deny themselves and follow you once they have a trust and believe that in fact you are sacrificing for them. I mean, there are other things that I think, in fact, as political parties we should think about. The issue of even the number of ministries that run in our country. I've never felt that we should have more than 20 ministries. And that different time governments change designations. Today there's power. In our time there was orientation. I think that we should standardize it so that every government knows that we are going to run the country with 20 ministries. If it is energy, it's energy. If we think it's too big and now it is power and petroleum, okay. There used to be fuel and power, and then it changes to water resources, works and housing, then it's works and housing, then it's transport, then there's roads and highways, then there's aviation. I think that as a country, some of these things, we the politicians should sit around and let's get serious. This country is 25 million, let's say 30 million people in the next 2 or 3 years. We are projecting that. That country should be, we can supervise it with 20 ministries if we properly look at it, consolidate some of it, and rebuild the public service and make it professional and not overly politicize the public services. It's very key.
But there's a problem. I mean, each time any of you is in opposition, you talk about the size of government. Each time you get into government, all of you come with the same size or bigger sizes.
I don't think it's a problem. The NDC, this is NDC 2, if I may say. I mean, yes, we have had one.
Yeah, but you've been in opposition before and
yes,
you've been in government before.
We've had one. So hopefully, hopefully, I mean, I think there are things that as we grow and move on, we should have the capacity to change. This is something I feel passionately about. And I'll discuss it with any future government that the MPP heads, that we cannot continue to do that. We have a country of 100 ministers. I think is a waste. We should cut down the waste in this country. There's too much waste in our public systems. Too much of it. And if we, the politicians, don't lead and cut down the waste, who will do it for us? I mean, for instance,
problem now.